Okay, so we're back. We're in the match ramble, and obviously we were going to do a separate one on this. We do have our AEW Collision match, one of my dream matches ever. We have Katsuyori Shibata versus Nigel McGuinness from this week's AEW Collision in the first round of the AEW Continental Cup. Now, to say this is a dream match for me, it is an understatement. These are two of my favourite wrestlers ever. Specifically, Shibata and Nigel McGuinness is one of... They say it in the commentary in this match, he is one of the best technical wrestlers of his generation. I would argue his generation is the best technical wrestling generation ever. So, by proxy, one of the best technical wrestlers of all time. This match delivered to me on all aspects. And I really mean that. So, in the sense of, you got to take into account, Shibata and Nigel are both not in their peak anymore. God, no. If this was in their peak, one of them would have not survived. Like, genuinely, it wouldn't have. But they're still both at a ridiculously high level, and I loved how it's presented. The AEW have really upped their presentation in Shibata recently, which I've always had a problem with. Obviously, massive Shibata mark, so they've actually nailed him down recently, which I've been really happy with. And this match is no different. So they come out, both make their entrances. Obviously, Nigel getting, the standard ovation from the commentary. And Shibata walks out with the OPPs, which I got a bit scared. But I remember no outside interference, thank God. So Shibata goes up and shakes Nigel's hand straight away. And obviously, I like that Shibata showing the respect. And then they both start doing the lockups, a lot of technical work. And it is Shibata basically controlling it. Nigel using his limbs and, a lot of the slippery aspects to get out of the work. And Shibata letting him up. Shibata's dominating the technical stuff on the ground. Nigel, they go back for a lockup, and Nigel eventually works it towards the ropes, and Shibata's head's on the ropes, and Nigel kicks the ropes, hitting Shibata in the face with the ropes, and an instant, oh, fuck, even put Big Paul White on a commentary goes, oh, I wouldn't have done that, and then Shibata, Nigel's like, whoa, puts his hand out to shake it, Nigel, he does it, and then Shibata does it, and then also kicks him. Shibata's pissed, which obviously is the worst thing you can do to Shibata. After this, the match, it becomes more heated from Shibata because I've always loved Shibata's character in the sense of he wants you to prove you're on his level, which he doesn't believe anyway. I love that arrogance, especially from New Japan aspect. I always love it. I think Yota Tsuji has it phenomenally. And I think Shibata always works better in that. This one is interesting because I very rarely get to see Shibata when he's in there with someone who believes is on the level. Bro had obviously the iconic match with Okada, and he doesn't believe Okada's on his level. It's ridiculous. And I love how in this one he's very wary of Nigel, but as soon as Nigel does that, he's like, I'm not gonna take your shit. And they eventually do a lot more. He gets him back down, and he does this brutal PK, which, bear in mind, the PK is one of my favourite moves ever, especially when Shibata does it. And he does the PK while Nigel's sitting down, and Nigel goes, run the ropes and kick me. And then he does that, and Shibata runs it, and you obviously think Nigel's going to take the kick and, try and resilience it or catch it. He ducks back down, lies back down, and sits back up, so Shibata misses the kick, and is behind him, and Nigel goes, use your brain. And Shibata just behind him and just hits him with his chop, a nasty-ass chop to the back, and it's, genuinely brutal. And then Shibata goes like that. That was brilliant. And so after this, Shibata's getting a bit more into it, getting a bit more brutal, going for a lot more holds, gets a lot of chokes he's going for with Nigel, a lot of limb work, especially on the arm for Nigel. But they managed to reverse, do a little roll around, and Shibata ends up getting his legs caught from the rope, and Nigel kicks it, really hitting the ankle, and Nigel locks on, doing a lot of leg work. And obviously Shibata trying to traverse it. And this is where the match kind of goes in its direction with Nigel's gameplay, where Nigel gets a lot more, let's say, of a perspective of what he wants to do, a lot more clear sight. He targets that leg brilliantly, and the ankle specifically. There's a lot of stomps. He does the whole thing when Shibata, when you go up and do a kick move, where Shibata does, but he stops and just kicks you in the face. Roosh does it to him. Nigel McGuinness does it, but he's stomping on the foot. He's doing a lot, where he's got a hold and he's stomping on, he's keeping the leg grounded. He does a leg lock, obviously basically looking like he's tearing the knee and the thigh muscles. It's phenomenal. And what this match does is it reminds people, one, of Nigel's, obviously, technical ability, which is high, very, very high. But also his inventiveness. bro, how Nigel McGuinness uses his limbs. Bear in mind, people forget how tall Nigel is. He's a very tall wrestler considering, you know, his limbs, and obviously for technical ability, it's something that he plays into very well. And even with obviously how long Nigel was out and very sporadically as he appears, he nails it. He absolutely nails it. He doesn't look like he's been out. It's brilliant. And he does a lot of moves, like Shibata goes for a kick and he's got the leg up, attacking the leg. He's really attacking the leg on Shibata. He does one where he does a figure four, but he's holding the other foot down with his leg. It's brilliant, honestly. It's absolutely phenomenal. Shibata does get a brutal PK again to McGuinness. And he does a lot of chokeholds, and it really is damaging McGuinness. He does, you know, the strikes. He does look like he basically has Nigel out at one point. And then, basically, they're going back and forth. Nigel doing a lot more leg work, as you expect. Shibata obviously trying to get... Shibata's brutality here is not to the level as he was in New Japan. God, no. Again, he was brutal in New Japan. But Jesus, yeah, he's great. He really nails it in the presentation. And he's got that horrible streak in him. Like, there's a moment where, Nigel has him in the corner and he walks back because he's just attacked him. And Shibata's right in his head behind him going, come on! Like, all stuff like that. It's my Shibata impression now, apparently. And then, apparently it was Dory Funk inspired. I couldn't really say. The finish is phenomenal. So Shibata has Nigel on his back. No, so Nigel's got Shibata on his back with the choke really deep in, and Nigel's fading and he's fading. And when he does it, he fades and he looks like he's about to go out, and then when he fades, he drops. Shibata's doing the PK, and when he does the PK, that's when he gets the leg up to kick it, and then Shibata goes flying down, and Nigel's like, oh fuck, and then Shibata goes back for the hold to get the pin. And McGuinness, it's weird, he does this weird roll up, like a bridge roll up, and gets the win as a surprise shock win for whatever. Paul White's going, he's done it, Nigel's done it. Shibata's pissed. I thought the only problem with the finish was I think they could have played into the leg more. I feel like you attack the leg for so long, clearly to limit those PKs. Like when Shibata hits that initial PK in the finish bit, he doesn't capitalize on it because his leg's absolutely total, specifically the ankle, which is really well worked. There's clearly a foresight, a plan with it, and I really like that. I think it's... And they play into it from a point of with Nigel being, the commentary style, during the where they're doing on top of each other, and Nigel's got his hands over his ears, obviously when Shibata does the open heart, to the ears, and it's a real good sign to show, and even though the commentary explains it, it's a real good way to show that Nigel does watch the tapes, obviously from being in a commentary position. I thought that was really well worked, but then even Shibata going a bit more brutal, more open hand, but he's, doing more stuff like that. I loved it. I loved how they presented both guys here. I do think, again, with the ankle, I feel like that could have been involved in the roll-up. I feel like you could have had the McGuinness go off it. I mean, not Shibata top or anything, but you could have worked that. But, I don't know, I feel like it was just a roll-up. But, again, no problem. God, no, it's McGuinness versus Shibata, bro. I'm never going to have a problem with this. And the match is brilliant. The match is absolutely brilliant. Nigel's through. We'll talk about what happens next. Jesus Christ. But, oh my God, I think this match really just solidifies how much I love both guys. And it really solidifies, one, how much I appreciate AEW really upping their presentation in Shibata. Really. And I think that's something that not a lot of people will give them credit for. As a massive Shibata mark, all the credit in the world. One of my favourite wrestlers of all time, bro. In my opinion, probably, I think he's one of the best of all time, in my opinion. Especially at his peak. And I think sometimes, we kind of take Shibata for granted. This is one of the best wrestlers ever, bro. I'm glad that AEW is kind of realizing that now. But this match, again, a dream match between these two technical athletes and wrestlers in general. It's everything I would have hoped for. Yes, is it then past the peak? Yeah, of course it is. But I'm not being funny, bro. You're getting Katsuyori Shibata in a great way of present. He's presented phenomenally here. There's Nigel McGuinness who doesn't look like he's missed a lot yet. He's a lot slower than what he was. God. But, bro, how long ago was his Ring of Honor peak? He's still a high level technical wrestler. And like I said, the movements, how long he is. He's like a spider. And then, the inventiveness of Nigel McGuinness is still at so high. It's a phenomenal match. And yeah, is it one of those, the crowd didn't appreciate it, God no, because Las Vegas, Nevada is no good crowd for this type of match. But it's a match, if you're a fan of Nigel, you're a fan of high quality technical wrestling. Again, them PKs for me move me. I'm jumping up and down in my room like a fucking madman whenever I see a PK from Shibata on McGuinness. This match was great. It was absolutely great. And obviously I've got bias in it, obviously. But I loved it. I absolutely loved it. It's what I expected from Nigel and Shibata and a bit more. They managed to, it feels like it was catered to me. This match is for me. It delivered. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. The bad news is Nigel is apparently injured. I might actually throw myself out that window. So that's fun. But I thought the match was absolutely, for a belt-to-belt, whatever they do from this point on, this is one of my dream matches. I really can't stress that. It really is. This is one of those matches where, you know, where people got those Bryan and Kenny, you know, that type of deal. You know, even Bryan Ospreay for me, stuff like that. This is that. And it may not be presented as the highest level. This is one of the best British wrestlers of all time, arguable wall, with, in my opinion, one of the best Japanese wrestlers of all time. Two of my favourite wrestlers of all time. Two wrestlers that clearly will have good chemistry. Have good chemistry. This is a phenomenal technical bout. And I need to rewatch McGuinness versus Sabre Jr. I would love to see how I compare this. Probably isn't the same level, God no, but I wouldn't imagine it's far off. I really would. In terms of my enjoyment level, I prefer Shibata than I do Sabre Jr. But I really do like Sabre Jr. I thought this was great. I thought this was, for someone who was really looking forward to it and had a lot of high expectations going into it, again with the bias, it delivered. I'm not going to complain about it. I thought this was phenomenal. Easily my match of the night for Collision. One of my favourite matches I've seen on TV for a while. I'm very, very grateful. This is one of those matches where you're just like, thank the Lord for AEW. This is on TV for nothing. And this is for people who, this is a nothing match for a lot of other people. For people who love Ring of Honor, love New Japan, love these two careers that, frankly, in a wrestling economy, you know, without AEW, probably never gets made. You know, I mean, Nigel McGuinness wouldn't be wrestling, God no. And then, obviously, what was Shibata? Shibata would be... These two are both supposed to not wrestle again. And to see them both, two of the best technical wrestlers, two of my favourite wrestlers ever, who weren't supposed to wrestle at all, wrestle each other, and to a very high level where I enjoyed it, bro, it's phenomenal. I'm never going to complain about it. Thank you, Tony. Thank the Lord. Thank everyone. This has been a great day for me. I got to watch the G1 final, and this, oh my God, this is great. I love professional wrestling, and I love this. This match was fantastic. So yeah, that is my thoughts on Nigel McGuinness versus Shibata in the Continental Cup. This match was phenomenal. I really enjoyed it. If you're a fan of Shibata or Nigel, I highly recommend it. If you've seen it, let me know what you thought of it. What's your opinion on either guy specifically? Because two of my favorites of all time. Would love to know what people think. This match was great.